Over the past couple of years, the British royal family has been more in the spotlight, following the death of Queen Elizabeth and the changes that have followed. For some time, there have been questions on the sustainability of the monarchy, especially following the exit of some members from active duties and the ill health of King Charles. However, Prince William seems to be stepping up to the challenge, and some of the decisions that he has made recently have spoken volumes. Also, Catherine seems to be back in the scene after she has been very much unstable following her ill health. Want to learn more about these? Do stay with us. In the past few years, the British royal family has seen a decline in the number of working members, following a clash of interests, which has created a wave of uncertainty around the future of the throne. Currently, a host of influential royals, some of whom used to actively support the public duties of the monarchy, have retreated or scaled down their participation. As the trend grows, the core of working royals is diminishing, and most of them are older, which has further stoked public debate on the sustainability and relevance of the institution. Personal choice and scandal have been behind the inactivity of some royals. Notably, the decision by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to step down from their senior roles in 2020, seeking independence and a more private life, had left a noticeable gap in the working royal roster. Equally, the public fall from grace of Prince Andrew after his linkage to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal has really taken him out of any kind of royal duties. These have seen fewer people being available to share the burdens that come with the throne. Meanwhile, the most senior working members of the royal family are aging. King Charles III is in his mid-70s and has come to the throne after the death of Queen Elizabeth II. His siblings, for instance, Princess Anne and Prince Edward, take active roles, but they are also older. This starts to beg the question of who will be handling the reins of the monarchy in the decades to come. As fewer family members become available to represent the crown at the myriad of public events, charity functions, and diplomatic engagements, there are some questions as to whether the monarchy will be able to sustain its traditional level of public service. Following the situation, many have expressed doubt about the ability of the throne to remain relevant in the coming years, as it seems the younger generations are becoming continually disinterested in the whole body. Some are going so far as to say the monarchy should trim some of its duties or consider more radical reforms in a bid to maintain relevance. However, there seems to be no choice but to place hopes on the active members of the family. Prince William and Kate Middleton are taking on more highly visible roles to help renew public interest in the crown. However, the problem is that over time, in the context of a reduced and aging group of active royals, the monarchy has to thread an increasingly slippery slope between tradition and modernization. As the public scrutiny intensifies, questions remain about the longevity and sustainability of the British royal family in its present form. In the future, there might be a smaller royal family, but whether this will suffice to meet the demands of a growing society is yet to be seen. King Charles III finally took the throne after his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, died in September 2022. Charles was crowned after years of preparation, finally stepping into the shoes of the longest-serving heir apparent in British history. His rule carried the hope that this reign would bring the much-needed balance between tradition and modernity. However, his personal health issues have so far marred the rule, with his diagnosis of cancer being the latest in recent times. Charles coming to the throne came with the enormous responsibility of taking over from Queen Elizabeth, an iconic ruler who had held the throne for 70 continuous years. Although he tried to put his stamp on the monarchy, mainly with regard to topical themes such as climate change and the preservation of the environment, among others related to philanthropy, his reign hasn't been without its setbacks. Public opinion about the monarchy had already begun to shift, and Charles, while commanding respect, has not enjoyed the same unwavering support accorded to his mother. Besides these, there were personal health issues he had to deal with, bringing up questions about the future of his rule. In late 2023, it was revealed that King Charles had been diagnosed with cancer. News of his illness came like a bombshell, therefore opening public debates about his health and what that might mean for the monarchy. Though the type of his diagnosis remained private, it soon became crystal clear how serious a turn the king's health had taken. Although King Charles managed to continue with the ceremonial work of the monarchy, there was much speculation about how much his illness would affect his ability to serve. Indeed, this is not the first time that serious questions have come up about King Charles's health. He has always had in and out episodes of certain serious medical conditions. A certain chronic condition in his respiratory system was treated in the early 2000s. In the year 2020, he was down with COVID-19, the virus that brought the world to a standstill. He survived the infection, but it did take a lot from his health and begged questions about susceptibility due to his age. While Charles has managed the health concerns over the years discreetly, he has continued to undertake his public roles and is a very active and busy royal. This new diagnosis could possibly raise eyebrows about how long it would be on the throne. Although all details about the treatment and his prognosis are not known yet, there is this general feeling that the health problem may reduce the active duties that he is meant to carry on with. Such a diagnosis places him in a role that requires continuous physical and mental energies throughout his reign, thereby moving once again into the discussion of the stability of the monarchy. The succession issue being more salient, the attention is increasingly paid to his son, Prince William, who is expected to assume some responsibilities. For the time being, King Charles is still at the head, but with his age and all the challenges he has to face, public and personal, the outlook for the future of his reign becomes increasingly uncertain. Generally speaking, Prince William is considered to be the main possible successor to the British throne and is the eldest son of King Charles III and the late Princess Diana. Growing up as heir apparent, the training William has received since early childhood has prepared him for his future role as a monarch and all that comes with it. He has been receiving a gradual yet thorough grooming for the throne, influenced by tradition and modernity. Growing up in the royal family simply means exposure to the demand for public service, diplomacy, and leadership. Over the years, he has been given increasingly greater responsibility to represent the crown at numerous international and national events. William's wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has also become a linchpin within the royal family and complements his future role as king. Through their efforts, they have aligned themselves as modern-day royals that people can relate to, which crosses the divide between tradition and contemporary society. In addition to these royal duties, William has quite an experience in military service that plays a huge role in his development as a leader. William went to the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst after university and then on to the Royal Air Force. In 2010, he was flying as a search and rescue pilot in an active and operational capacity. The time spent in the RAF not only sharpened his leadership qualities, but also helped him connect with the ordinary citizen in his ordinary pursuits, an attribute of service to the people. In subtle changes to royal duties given the health issues faced by King Charles, William is at the center stage. Recently, he has been more interested in military matters, especially in the Royal Air Force, and now he plays a leading role in that area. The responsibility of the Royal Air Force used to be shared with his younger brother, Prince Harry, who also had his portion of service in the military as a helicopter pilot in the Air Corps of the British Army. But since Harry's departure from the inner circle of the royal family in 2020, William has increasingly been coming to the fore to stand in for the royal family's military engagements and further his position as future king. Military leadership underlines William's preparedness for the throne. The building up of influence he has recently been doing in decision-making on important issues, such as national defense, plus his high public profile through charity work and international diplomatic efforts, testifies to what he can bring to the throne. Equally important causes dear to his heart, which include mental health, the environment, and youth development, endear him to people who see him as a modern leader. As King Charles proceeds to reign in the midst of looming health concerns, the position of Prince William as his successor is an imposing fact which with each passing time is becoming more and more so. His gradual rise in royal and military duties goes to prove the deliberate and planned grooming the prince received over these years. With a sense of duty and leadership qualities imbibed, he is earmarked as the fittest candidate to carry ahead the British monarchy in the future decades. King Charles III has been committed to charity for a long time. Throughout his life, he has founded and supported a number of organizations on very varied themes, from environmental sustainability and education to social justice. The most important and durable legacy related to this subject is probably the Prince's Trust, created by him in 1976 to support less fortunate young people in the UK with educational, job-related, and entrepreneurial opportunities. Over the decades, it has grown into a major force for good, enabling hundreds of thousands of young people to reach their potential. While King Charles stepped into his role as monarch, Prince William increasingly took over overseeing duties of many of these initiatives. As next in line to the throne, William has indeed shown much concern and interest in continuing his father's charitable works. Under William, his involvement has placed a very strong emphasis on social development, conservation, and empowerment of young people. And indeed, the Prince's Trust has continued to grow under his direction, both in scope and impact. William modernized the organization to place new emphases on issues such as youth mental health, digital skills, and employability in an increasingly changing economy. Equally, William's hands-on approach and his connectivity to younger generations are what enabled him to lead the charity towards contemporary issues while keeping the original mission intact. Other highly acclaimed philanthropic work by King Charles includes the Prince's Foundation, which is bound by its commitment to education, sustainability, and the promotion of traditional crafts. Charles was very passionate about these things, fostering the marriage of modern solutions with honored traditions. This foundation encompasses a number of projects that come under its care and includes sustainable architecture, building community, and the teaching of arts and crafts. Over the last couple of years, Prince William has become more involved with the foundation to make sure that it updates its work on modern conservation and engages a younger generation in the protection of cultural heritage. William's concern for environmentalism, inspired by both his father and grandfather, made him a natural successor. He has also taken on the Duchy of Cornwall, a private estate that supplies the heir to the throne with an income and funds most charitable endeavors. The duchy had been quite important in fostering King Charles's charitable work, with interests in sustainable agriculture, conservation, and rural communities. William now carries the mantle of the new Duke of Cornwall and has made it known that he will carry along the estate's emphasis on sustainability. The work of William shows deep respect for his father's lifetime of service, and yet manages to weave in William's interests and priorities, from mental health advocacy to wildlife conservation. All of these works of philanthropy by Prince William show him furthering King Charles's vision for a fairer, more sustainable, and more caring society, ensuring that the monarchy is an active force for good in today's world. And now to the shocking news from the royal family. In a new turn of events, reports have emerged that the British monarchy has cut funding to Tom Parker Bowles, the son of Queen Camilla, in a bid to fix the emerging reproof of expenses by the royal household, especially on non-active members. This move is part of a greater effort by the monarchy to clean up its finances and reduce public unease over where money is being spent. Tom Parker Bowles is an extremely well-known food critic and writer who has never had an official role within the royal family and has generally kept a very low profile when undertaking any sort of royal duties. Of course, that has been put somewhat under scrutiny due to his relation to Queen Camilla and King Charles III. There were nevertheless stories that the royal family and estate helped him in many ways, including paying for security and travel indirectly through the royal household. while he carved out a very successful career in his own right. The move has come with increased scrutiny from the public regarding how royal funds are used, especially on members of the extended family, and seems a response to concerns voiced over transparency and equity in that respect. During the past couple of years, with regard to the economic climate, where so many citizens have expressed their concerns, the royal family has been under increasing pressure with regard to the justification of the use of public funds. That pressure has only increased as the monarchy itself has become leaner, with fewer active working royals following the departures of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and then the removal of Prince Andrew from public duties. Slashing the funding to Tom Parker might just be part of the move to define the people who actually belong to the inner circle. King Charles has long championed the slimmed-down monarchy, anchored around a far smaller number of working royals who actually work on behalf of the people. Now, the king is making good on that vision by ensuring that royal funds are primarily utilized to benefit those performing official duties on behalf of the crown. This move is also to somehow appease the people's discontent with what is perceived as extravagance in spending by the royals, especially on those considered non-active members. The British have become increasingly judgmental towards the expenditure of every pound that the taxpayers provide to keep the royal household running, considering such economic times. This criticism is somewhat ameliorated and proves financially responsible, as it means the monarchy is cutting off funding to non-working royals and their extended families. The move is sure to raise a little tension in the ranks, but the decision is nonetheless taken and seen as necessary to the modern monarchy image and its survival. In times of greater scrutiny, transparency, and accountability, the royal family is being forced to move with times in light of today's expectations, part of which involves streamlining spending on extraneous costs. However, the scrutiny on the royal family hasn't just been on the cost of running the family. There have been other issues in the past which have raised questions on the credibility of the throne. Investigations into several of the charities associated with this royal family have been one of the big issues that they have had. Organizations associated with King Charles and other senior royals come under scrutiny over financial practice, transparency, and alleged ethical violations. These inquiries have kept current the question of what role and responsibility should be borne by the monarchy, particularly with regard to practices involving the handling of charitable donations and the allotment of public funds. These charities include the Prince's Foundation, considered one of King Charles's flagship organizations, accused of running cash for honors schemes and of misappropriating funds. Charity scandals like this one could tarnish the long history of philanthropy by members of the royal family and raise questions in the general public about the integrity of its institutions. Investigations remain incomplete, but questions have been raised over the way charities associated with the royals are treated and whether more oversight with reforms needs to be implemented. For now, it seems that the Crown is more invested in making sure that they sustain the monarchy and the grace that comes with it. With King Charlie's illness, he has been less and less active in his roles and has contributed to the rising tensions. However, Prince William remains a beacon of hope for the family, as he seems very much prepared to shoulder the responsibilities when it eventually comes to that. When Prince William eventually takes over, it's more than likely that he will be bringing some reforms that will align more with modern demands, given that he is much younger and more in touch with the demands of the current age. With the recent changes that have been made in the funding of the non-active members of the family, especially Tom Parker, people hope that it is a move towards a more transparent leadership. What are your thoughts on these issues? Let us know in the comments, and we will see you in the next one.